It's time for another 8-bit review. This time, Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. Who says you can't review a game that came out 10 years ago? Vice City Stories holds a special place in my heart, and as far as I know, I might be the only person on the planet that has actually played it. This hidden gem of a game gets a bad rap, but I promise, there's more than meets the eye here.
What are you talking about? What's wrong?
So let's dive deep into why I think Vice City Stories is the second best 3D universe GTA game of the series behind San Andreas, and why Rockstar seems to hide this game from the world.
Oh, boys! Mom! Victor, put your brother down.
Vice City Stories starts as almost every other GTA game. Solo loser guy comes to town, makes a bunch of enemies right away, things get way worse, and then the universe flips upside down again, and suddenly you're running 7 totally legitimate businesses and flying helicopters in your spare time. Okay, so maybe not quite that, but the overall arc of Vic Vance, the main protagonist, and the dark undertones of this game right off the bat had me hooked into the story. Vic is initially in the military, but due to several bad decisions with his commanding officer, is promptly kicked out on his behind. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, Vic decides to trust just about everyone he meets, and almost dies several times due to this weirdly trusting trait. His own brother has nearly cost him his life, or most of his money, about 5 times in the first half of the game alone. But remember, Vic is actually the good guy, and all he wants to do is take care of his sick brother and addict mom, but just keeps getting sucked into doing terrible things to and for terrible people in the name of honor. His younger brother, who you might recognize from his role in Vice City, Lance, only serves to push the envelope in getting Vic into a game he doesn't want to play.
I like that, huh? 2 bitches going at it hot and sweaty. Bang, bang, bang.
Throw in some family issues, an odd love story with the first infant in a GTA game, and more cliche characters than you can shake a stick at, and you've got a game that goes from interesting to weird and spicy in about an hour. Vice City Stories stands on its own for telling a story rooted in some deep, hellish reality that only seems to grow in Florida. The ability to buy a number of different properties around the map and spin up different businesses and grow them from small to large operations is something I wish was in other titles and is fleshed out quite nicely. Rival gangs attack your businesses in retaliation of you growing your empire. Buildings all over the map can be taken over or just destroyed on a whim. And since mission payouts are pretty much pennies, literally you make almost no money from the main story missions, businesses are really the only way to make money in this game, and you will need it.
You must be the cocaine man! Frankie! The cocaine man is here!
Hey,
The world itself is the same as you remember from Vice City, although it takes place a few years before when the city still had neon lights and a sense of style. I have to point out that most of the NPCs also have real personality visually, and cars have a nice soft reflection effect that's not seen in any of the non-stories based titles. The PS2 version also has a nice trails effect that also adds some bloom lighting that really adds to the tone of the game. Let me say one thing though, this game can be incredibly unforgiving. The number of times I wanted to throw my controller across the room from having to endure the same missions over and over because of the weird spikes in difficulty. The game will even start a mission with a handful of enemies just all aiming at you, giving you 3 seconds to run for cover or just die. It's frustrating. There are of course some slowdowns and visual hiccups, especially when a lot of action is going on screen. This is not game-breaking, perhaps just due to lack of optimization or because it's technically a port from the mobile version, the PSP version. The control scheme not being fully adjusted to having 2 joysticks, resulting in aiming at screaming people down the street instead of the cop who's standing right next to you shooting you in every part of your body. I mean, their aim is freaky good now too, and the time to death is so low with just 2 people 6 feet away. Rival gangs can also get really freaking annoying. They'll attack you in waves endlessly, just about until certain death, and sometimes not even giving you a breath between attempts on your life. So look, I get it. This game was released in 2006, at a time when we were all holding our breath for GTA 4, and the next generation of consoles was already showing us what gaming was about to become. The beauty in this game is the nostalgia and the charm of the really neat environment that the team have created. On PSP, Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories were the top games for that console. But still, Vice City Stories did not do well enough to receive the same amount of love as some of the other titles, which is why you just can't find it literally anywhere. My hope is that one day this game does get the attention it deserves and more people can experience a decently written backstory to a classic GTA game. And that's why Vice City Stories gets an 8 out of 10. For a breakdown on this score and more reviews, visit us at 8bit.tv. Please, somebody release this thing on mobile already.